Hello everyone, welcome to Sapna Rise. I'm Natasha Doshi. We are on episode 8 today and we have a very famous personality with us. In fact, she has been the bestseller in India from the last 10 years and her books have done so well. We have none other than Miss Preeti Shenoy. She's also listed for the Forbes list of India and she has written the bestseller Life is What You Make It.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Um, To everyone who've tuned in, we have Miss Preeti Shenoy with us, and I'm Natasha. We're at episode 8 of Sapna Book House's concept Sapna Rise, and today we're going to talk about ma'am's new book, When Love Comes.
When love came.
How are you, ma'am? So tell us about the book.
So it's a young adult fiction. It's about Pooja and Arush. You know, Pooja is 19. She's completely Indian. She lives in Kochi. And Arush, who is British, who has never been to India, only his name is Indian. And the two could not be more different from each other. Two are so different from each other. And Pooja has a very strict mom. So it's in the first person narrative. First, there's Pooja
Yeah.
talking, and there's Arush, there's Pooja, then there's Arush. And, and then in between there's Pooja's mom's voice also, and it's been getting really good reviews. It's just been
Wow.
released, and I'm so glad that I'm doing the launch with Sapna, because my previous two books too, the first launch was with Sapna. Wake Up Life is
Wow.
Something, we first did the launch with Sapna, and before that Love a Little Stronger, we did it with Sapna. Love a Little
That's so
Stronger was in
nice.
Koramangala, Sapna, and Wake Up Life is Calling was in Residency Road. And now here we are again with Sapna, virtually launching.
Live, at a live session.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So, ma'am, what inspired you to write this particular book?
So I really feel there's a huge gap between teens and their parents, and I really feel there is a dearth of good quality YA fiction in India. Because
Okay.
some of these books which I read are very cliched. It's this complete boy meets girl, and then the college love story. And I want to write something very different, because see, while young adults, of course, love is a part of their life, but they also have other struggles like finding oneself and finding their passion. Then there's parental pressure. Then of course they are not that kind who will leave parents and go running behind any guy or girl they fall in love with. We have to give our millennials more credit than that. So I wanted to write a smart fiction, a fast-paced, gripping fiction where if you open the book, you won't be able to keep it down. And the result is this book. So I really
Okay.
felt there was a dearth of quality writing in that space, which prompted me to, write this book.
That's amazing. And I completely agree with you in a way because what we see nowadays, it's young adult fiction, but most of the novels, they don't have like a takeaway from the book. It's a story that you read and, kind of get done with it. But from whatever I've read, and especially having read your book personally right now, I feel like there's such a strong takeaway. It's a very personal narrative. And one thing that I really noticed about the book is it has tiny details. It's
Yeah.
right from describing Wayanad, right from
Yes.
describing Kerala's scenery. There's also a passage where, you tell people how to book a cab in the UK. So there's so many descriptions and small nuances of the book that you've written that make people so connected when they're reading it. Actually, it takes you to the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Totally.
and I think you've
Yeah.
actually
Continue.
written a lot of books that way. You've also written a book that's completely based out of Bangalore and you describe the streets. So, how does this happen? That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm glad you mentioned this, because I feel every passage in my book, okay, there will be so much research that goes into it. When the reader reads it, it's a very smooth experience, and most people tell me that they feel they are there inside the story. Now, how are they there inside the story? It's because of the level of details that I get into. I'm also a portrait painter. So, in fact, yesterday I
Wow.
put up a story on Instagram that whether it's writing or whether it's art, and especially portraiture, you have to be very specific. Even 1 millimeter, if the eyeball goes even a millimeter this side, that it makes a difference. So I feel in
True.
writing, I try to be authentic. So if you look at my research notes, it will be this much for maybe a small scene. So whether it is the Kerala murals which Arush studies, or whether it's the NGO. Oh, and I used to live in UK and I used to live in Kerala. So I have a real feel for both these places. And I love both these places. I love Norwich and I love Kerala. And I think my love for these places comes across in this book. And in this book, a little bit part of the story plays out in Jew Street in Kochi. Now,
Oh.
not many people know about Jewtown, and it's very beautiful. So, in order to write this book, I went there. I researched, I photographed, I took so many photographs, I spoke to locals. So, everything that you read in the book, you will be able to visit, which I think is an amazing thing, because many authors, what they do is, in India, I'm not talking about the international ones, they just write. They just go and Google something and they just write. And I feel that does show in the story. So the level of detailing. Sorry, you're not audible, Natasha. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Let me try and increase the volume on my phone. It was coming properly. Yeah, tell me. Can you? I can't hear you either. Is it any better? Yeah. Now I can hear you clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, ma'am, I think that's a very beautiful trait to have in a book, when you're kind of transporting the readers to an entire destination altogether.
Yeah.
And details about the character, details about the location, which is very rare in India, actually. If you see any fictional work, it's just boy meets girl, romance,
Yeah.
and then that kind of plot.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm very glad
So,
you noticed that. Thanks.
I actually read the book.
Yeah. I'm
So,
very glad.
yeah. Ma'am, you've written so many national bestseller books. What do you feel? Does it add a certain amount of pressure to you to, keep excelling with the upcoming books?
Not really, because see, if that was the case, then I would just be writing in the same genre. I wouldn't be taking any risk. But when I'm writing, I'm just true to the story. I just write that story which is uppermost in my mind. So I have written about extramarital relationships. I've written about young adults. I've written about bipolar disorder. I have
Yeah.
written about a book which explores fate versus destiny. It's all in the planet explores that. So each book I try and do. Then I have written creative nonfiction. I have written Why We Love the Way We Do, which is a collection of essays. So if there was any pressure, then I would just try to do the same thing. One success formula you got, you just repeat it. But I don't do that, because frankly, when I'm writing, I'm a true writer that way. I'm just being true to the story. And it's only after the book comes out I even think about marketing it and whom will it appeal to and all of that.
Oh, that's actually nice. I think that makes you more involved with the whole process.
Totally, because I'm not thinking of the reader at all when I'm writing. I'm just writing the story in a way which comes to me at that point of time.
Okay.
So,
that's nice. Can you share a little more in detail about your whole experience
of what,
of
Natasha?
writing? So how does this happen? You picturize a plot, you have a story, and how does the whole writing process come about?
So usually at any given point of time, I have at least 50, 60 ideas buzzing about in my head. But the one which I decide to write is the one which doesn't go away. Okay. I keep thinking about it and it keeps growing. And then I finally decide to write the book. And then I have these themes. So every theme in this book, okay, it will either have sibling rivalry, or it will have parental relationship, or it will have growth. So you will find that difference when you read my book.
Read, yeah.
So I just write. Once I write, I'm very disciplined. I write every single day till the book is done.
Wow. So how long does it actually take for you to write the entire book?
So usually when people ask this, I always say it takes me 48 years, because because frankly, see, when they ask how long does it take to write, is it the time taken to type? Is it the time taken to think? Is it the time taken
Think,
to
okay.
research? So it's very difficult to pinpoint exactly what duration a book is, because I really feel no writer will really be able to answer. They might just
Answer.
simply say 3 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years. They might just say it. But the real truth is that you don't know, because some incidents you use might be something that happened years ago, and it's very hard to answer exactly the duration it takes to write a book.
True, ma'am. So, can you tell us about the characters of the book, without disclosing the plot too much, but some nuances of these two characters, Pooja and Arush?
Sure. So I'll just read out the back blurb. So this is what it says. Pooja, 19. Confused, energetic, fiery. Her philosophy, life is complicated, and only super achievers have it figured out. Her strict mother sends her to a rural location in Kerala to spend her summer vacation doing volunteer work. Arush, 20, studious, careful, shy. Born and raised in Britain, he's elated when he gets an opportunity to spend 12 weeks in India, a place his parents are from and where he's never been to. When Pooja and Arush meet, their stark differences are obvious to each other. With choppy internet and no other distractions, they start getting to know each other and slowly fall in love. But falling in love and staying in love are not the same thing. When disaster strikes, Pooja is forced to confront the harsh realities of life, while Arush realizes that India is not always the picture-perfect postcard he presumed it was. Desperately fighting to expose the truth and save themselves, what happens to their love? Is it strong enough to survive forces beyond their control? Is it deep enough to drown their own doubts? Sometimes you have to travel far to find yourself.
Oh, wow. So beautiful, Esther.
Oh, thank you so much. That's actually the back blurb, so I haven't given away too much at all.
Too much of the story. True.
Yeah.
I think there's one audience question which I found very interesting. The handle is he of HR, so I don't know the name.
Right.
But the question is fiction written by Indian authors wherein international oasis is very different. Why so?
I guess because you guys only buy substandard books. I'm sorry to say. So refuse to read badly written books, because frankly, I'm sorry for saying it on live, but some of the book quality is so bad, it's terrible. Like I couldn't go past, because I keep getting these books which publishers send me, and some of it is so badly written. I'm like, how can you? I mean, there's grammatical errors. There are so many. How can you let this be published? Unfortunately, you're the guys buying it, so the publishers are going to print what is in demand. So the onus is on you guys, frankly.
What do you think sets your book apart from the others? What's that unique thing about your book?
To be very frank, like I said, my books are commercial fiction, but it's a smart commercial fiction. There is depth in my books which you don't find in other books. Which if you read this book, and if you read a contemporary book by someone else in the same genre, you will see the difference for yourself. I don't have to say it. You just read the book, I'm sure you'll agree, Natasha. You must have read, you have read my book and you have read other books. So there is this level of depth and detailing, and you'll feel, when you read my books, you feel. They're not just cardboard characters. I spend a lot of time on the craft. I care about my craft. So that's what's different in my books.
There's one more thing that I noticed, in between this book especially, there are little sketches, and you've had quotes put, destination and love and different categories, and then you have pictures with quotes. That's a really beautiful thing that I personally liked about the book.
Yes. So the book is divided into 4 parts. There's adventure, there's destination, there's heart, and there's places. And each section starts like that, with a little quote and with a little section, and which I thought was a nice division, because see, the book is like, otherwise it just becomes Pooja Arush. It becomes very monotonous. Yes. So these little things give it like a new, I had done this in one of my other books too, but that didn't have illustration. But since this was YA, we thought illustrations would go well. So in one of my other books, in 100 Little Flames also, it's divided into 4 sections.
Okay. Nice. There's somebody telling us writing skills of Preeti Shenoy ma'am is exceptional. You pick up any book and it would be really interesting.
Thank you so much. And that is, I don't know who the person
AUM. Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I need more readers like you. Thanks a lot.
There's one question here by Manjunath. What is special and interesting compared to other books? I think he means about this current book.
I think I've
What's
already
special
answered
in
that. I think I've answered it. Just pick up the book and read. And actually, what you guys can do is read the first 3 chapters, which are free. Just type preeti.io/when love came in your browser, and you'll be able to read the first 3 chapters. You will come to know from the first 3 chapters itself what is special and what is different.
Ma'am, we have a small rapid fire for you if you're ready.
Sure.
So you can answer in a word or in a sentence, but as fast as you can.
Okay.
So at what age did you...
camp at the end of it, like with coffee?
That I'm going to ask Nijesh and Nitin uncle.
Sorry?
I'm sure they can make that happen.
Okay.
But see, Coffee with Karan has judges. So then we'll have to figure out a judge for the rapid fire.
True. We can ask the audience.
Definitely. Let's do that then.
Okay.
I think the audience are going to be the judge of today.
Okay.
So at what age did you know you want to become a writer?
It's like 6 or 7. But I didn't know I would succeed.
Really?
Yeah, my first book was at the age of 7.
At the age of 7?
Yeah. It was a
Oh, wow.
a 6-page book. 4 pages were writing, 2 pages were illustration. So, but I never knew I was this successful. But I knew very early on that I wanted.
Okay, so did you actually get that book published?
I have it with me. It's just written in pen, and it's a child. Like I was 7 years old, so I still have it. So grateful that my dad still preserved it.
Preserved it.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you continued writing throughout after that?
I have always written. So even in colleges and all that, I used to always win in short story competitions at university levels. I've won, but I never dreamt that I would get this level of success. Touch wood, and thank you to my readers. Thank you to the universe. I never dreamt I would be this successful.
Yeah. So then we have, what's your favorite childhood book?
Enid Blyton. All the Magic Faraway Tree.
Who, in your opinion, is the most underread author
in the world?
Yeah.
Probably translations. Japanese translations, they're very underread. So.
Okay. Who or what have been the most important influences in your life?
One is obviously my father. He's been a great influence. I think everything that I am is because of my father. The second is my books. Third is probably my mother. So
that's sweet.
Yeah.
If you weren't a writer, what would you be doing?
Urban farming, for sure, because I grow vegetables. I have this very nice garden you can see behind me.
So
I love greenery. So yeah, I grow my own vegetables, and after this live, I'm going to go check on my tomatoes. I grow tomatoes, cucumber, spinach.
Oh, wow. I think after the live, I'm going to call you and ask you for tips, because even I love gardening.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Next question. How long does it take to write a book, which you've already answered? So I'm going to skip that.
Yes.
What's your favorite film?
Not any single film, but recently I watched Kumbalangi Nights. It's a Malayalam movie, beautiful movie. Watch it. It's not one single movie. This is favorite film of the last 1 week because I watch a lot of movies.
What's your favorite artist? Who's your favorite artist?
Rene Magritte. For sure. I love his real work. Really love his work.
That's nice. What's your favorite book?
Time Traveler's Wife, if I had to pick one.
Okay. Any grammatical mistakes in your book that have gone unnoticed, or any bloopers that you personally find, in your books?
It's for the readers to find out and message me, because I'm not going to do the readers' work for them. So if it's there, find out, message me, and I let my editors know.
Okay. Smart answer. How many hours in a day do you write?
When I'm writing a book, sometimes it's even 12 hours, 10 hours. I don't keep a tab at all. But I make it a point to write every single day. Sometimes I'm not working on a book, but even then I write. I write in my journals and all of that. Then at least for 20 to 30 minutes I write. At least when I'm working on a book, 7 to 8 hours.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, because I'm very involved and I can't just get away.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Have you ever Googled yourself?
All the time, because I have to see what, all the time, because sometimes they write such nonsense and I read it, I'm aghast. But recently Google got in touch with me, and for certain celebrities they have given this option where you can
Okay.
answer questions about yourself. So I have
Okay.
that option. If you Google my name, you'll find me giving you the answer. So even if you Google Priyanka Chopra, if you Google, you'll find Priyanka Chopra answering. So similarly, you'll find me answering, because Google has given that facility to certain people. So in fact, if you Google me, you'll find me answering, some of the questions, but some of the commonly asked questions, because people just write anything.
Yeah. Does it affect you, if I may ask, certain negative reviews or certain comments?
See, it used to affect me long back, Natasha, because see, now I'm 13 books old. So the first book, it really affected me, But you just become, you just grow a thicker skin with each book. And then you also get the adulation. So to be very honest, I feel like right now, you can tell me my book is lousy, my book is terrible. It won't bother me at all. You can tell me my book is great, it's fantastic, it's the best thing I've ever read. It will still not bother me, because now I just take it. It's just become very, I guess you just become experienced with each book, and I'm happy as long as I have done my work perfectly. And as long as one person benefits from my book, I'm happy, I feel my work is done.
That's a very sweet thing to say, Mama.
Oh, thank you so much. No, but I'm not just saying it, but because that is the truth,
I think that maybe is something that a lot of people don't look at, because when you're in the commercial, you've reached a certain stage where, you start writing a lot of books. I find that, a lot of writers just write and churn book after book. That thought process of impacting or, leaving an impact or letting people learn from your books, that's a little rare.
No, I do feel happy. For example, I share those messages on my Insta stories. So even today, if you go and check, you'll read messages, I share the actual screenshots, and on a day, I get at least 25 to 30 messages. So I share the best ones, So, and I'm grateful that my words are helping to make someone's life better. And honestly, it's a bit overwhelming, but I'm also grateful because see, when I'm writing for myself. But how wonderful that it impacts someone positively, brings a change to their life. So I feel very grateful and overwhelmed by it.
Very sweet. I'll ask you the next question. Who is your favorite author?
Michael Morpurgo, Roald Dahl, Audrey Niffenegger. It's very hard to name, just one. Ruskin Bond, 4 I believe.
Okay. Ebook or a physical copy of a book?
Both. I used to be a big physical copy fan, but now ever since I started reading on the Kindle, and also my house, there's so many books, So I realized the experience is just the same, especially with Kindle Paperwhite. So I read on both. And also some books you don't get physical books. In which case, ebooks, there's that instantly you get it, So now I would say both.
I think for me personally, it's overrated, but the smell of a fresh book when it comes in, or even the smell of an old book after many, many years, that is something why I'm not able to switch to a Kindle or an ebook ever. So for me, I think I would always prefer, holding a physical copy in my hand. That adds that personal touch.
True. Always. And you can't sign ebooks.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Yeah. But, right now if you order, it is a signed copy.
Oh, I didn't get the signed copy.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, I'll sign it for you.
I'm going to come there now.
Definitely.
So, moving on to the next question. Computer or a pen or a paper? How do you prefer writing?
So I write out the plot and everything with a pen and a paper in a journal, and then I switch to
Okay.
the. So it's both. It's both for
Nice.
me.
That's nice. Oh, what about online or in-store book shopping?
In store, always. Because I love that feel of those bookshops. I really miss it now, because of the COVID and all that. And world
Situation.
over, I have visited amazing bookstores. Like one of the
Okay.
best bookstores I visited was in Bhutan, in Thimphu.
Okay.
It was so
Wow.
beautiful. So they had these frames put up where local
Okay.
poets had written poetry. So those lines
Okay.
were framed and put up, and there were dogs and cats in the shop, and it was all very
Wow.
quaint and beautiful. And you'll never get that in online. See, online, what you see is the bestsellers, and what the algorithm pushes at you, right? But when you go to a physical bookstore, you can explore, you can have a look, and you'll find books which you never discovered. So for me, that will always be physical.
Yeah. That I think I agree with you on that. That's like an
It's so
experience
nice.
of it. Yeah.
It's so nice because you don't know what you'll find. I remember I had gone to Sapna in Gandhinagar, and it was
Okay.
amazing. It was like this magical place, such a huge bookstore, and I went around and I can spend hours in the bookstore.
True, ma'am. I think every time I walk into Sapna too, I feel like some lost child, so many books, so many options to choose from. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
beautiful
And
experience.
then there's this personal touch. So most of the
Yeah.
bookstores, I know the owner. Okay, so they'll
Okay.
come and they'll suggest something, or they'll say, come have a look at this. And it's just very
Okay.
personal, which will not be there in your online.
Okay. Ma'am, Basil is asking us if you can mention the name of the bookstore that you just mentioned.
Oh, I don't
In-
remember, but there's only one good bookstore in Thimphu. So you can just
Okay.
Google it.
Okay. What about in a store? I mean, sorry, in a plot, is a hero your favorite or a villain?
Neither. I feel, for example, in this book, there is this character called Shanti Chechi. She's neither
Yeah.
the hero nor the villain. Okay, she's one small character who doesn't even get the mention on the back blurb, but she plays a very key role in the story. So
Okay.
for me, sometimes certain characters stick in my mind, and for me, maybe if I had to choose one favorite character from this book, it would be Shanti Chechi. So
Yeah.
neither.
There's one
Neither the hero nor the
Okay.
villain.
There's one more very unique character, Arush's pet.
Oh yes, Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ma'am, next question. Okay, sorry, you were saying something.
No problem. No, I just said Vincent. Vincent the iguana is a unique character here.
Okay. I'll move on to the next question.
Sure.
What's the one thing that you would give up to become a better writer?
I wouldn't give up anything because I don't think it's necessary to give up something in order to be a better writer. You just need to keep writing, and I think I have grown with every book. With every book.
Okay.
If you see my 13th book, it's 13 times better than my first book. So
Okay.
I haven't given up anything. I have just, I have just practiced the craft. I have been at it. So you have to keep writing. So I don't think it's necessary to give up anything.
Okay. What book do you want everybody to read once in their lifetime?
All my books. Just read all my books once in your lifetime. Not once in my lifetime. No, but frankly, if you want a book recommendation, I was just kidding. If you want book recommendations, just go to my Instagram handle. I have reviewed over 100 books because I'm an avid reader. So there is this highlight, book 1 and book 2. So just go
Okay.
through them and pick up books which you find appeal to you. But please read every single day. Switch off your phones and please read for at least 30 minutes. Read anything. I'm not saying just read my book, read anything, but please read a book that speaks to you because you guys will grow so much from reading.
Okay. There's a very beautiful question over here. What's your first thought in the morning?
Oh, first thought in my morning is, I have to walk my dog, because she's the one, she's the one who comes and she'll wake me up. She'll bark in my ear. So I'll be sleeping. And first it's a mild bark. And then I don't get up. So she has this toy, which she's a large Doberman. So you can imagine
Okay.
barkers.
Yeah.
Then she'll go and she'll press that toy, He's Mr. Giraffe, and Mr. Giraffe has been pressed, and Mr. Giraffe will make such a loud sound that you will jump out of bed, hearing that sound.
Okay.
So my dog has trained me actually to wake up early in the morning. So the first thought is that oh, I have to walk her.
Okay. But it's sweet.
It's sweet, but I'm also always sleep deprived. Like right now, if I just close my eyes, I can go off to sleep. Always I'm sleep deprived. So while it's sweet, it's also very tiring.
Ma'am, I'll ask you the next question.
Sure.
Do you judge a book by its cover?
Sometimes, because sometimes the cover is so beautiful that it just kind of pulls you towards the book, It just pulls you and it just draws. For example, recently I'm reading this book called Modern Hindi Short Stories.
Okay.
And it's translated, okay, forward by Bhishma Sahani. I hope I pronounced it right. Beautiful.
Okay.
The cover itself is so beautiful. You'll feel like reading it. So,
Okay.
yeah, the cover does draw you in.
Nice.
And I hate those movie covers. So all this ink heart, ink spell and all that. Ink heart, ink
Yeah.
spell, ink death. So later, I think when the movie came out, they started publishing, with the characters. And I
Okay.
wanted the first book. So I would go to the bookstore. Do you have this book, but without the movie cover? Do you have the old edition, So
Yeah.
I'm very, 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 book nerd that way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What is the last book that you bought?
Last book that I bought, it was on Kindle. It was The Hypnotist's Love Story by Liane Moriarty.
Okay.
That's the last book.
And who is your inspiration? Your biggest inspiration? Inspiration amongst your author circle, like any other author that inspires you.
I would say like Indian, or is it international?
Anybody.
Okay. International, it would really be Michael Morpurgo. It would be Ruskin Bond. It would be Roald Dahl, and especially his short stories, because I do write a lot of short stories which are very dark, which are unusual, and
Okay.
that because Roald Dahl writes that way, and I find that brilliant. So while my books are very happy and positive, and my short stories will really get under your skin. And short stories are only available as e-stories. They are not
Okay.
published in a collection, and they're very unusual. So yeah, I think every writer whose books I have listed as favorite inspires me.
Okay. Do you read any thriller books? Harshu is asking us.
I used to read long time back. James Hadley Chase I used to read. I could not keep it down. I would turn the pages. But then I read all the usual suspects, like the girl at the train, or I forgot which one that was. The Girl in the Train. Is that? I forgot that book. Yeah, that was a thriller book which did.
I think that was you're talking about the one that got converted to a movie?
I guess it did, because I mostly read the books.
Okay.
So
I remember seeing a movie with a similar title, but I'm not sure.
yeah. Yeah, I do watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I do watch those movies. But I prefer reading the books.
Okay. So, the weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark?
Oh, the weirdest thing is a plant leaf. It is so funny, and that plant is right here. Yeah, I can in fact show it to you. I can show it to you. That was so interesting. See, this is it. So I have this cactus plant. Okay, it keeps dropping its leaves, and it comes very easily. So just the other day I was doing a live, and I wanted to mark a page, and I didn't have a bookmark. So I took this little leaf, and I kept it as a bookmark, and it works very well. See, it works so well.
Yeah,
That's the weirdest thing. And I thought, oh, not bad. I can use a leaf as a bookmark.
Yeah.
And
it's actually.
On that note, I think people who fold the pages of books are monsters. Please don't be a monster.
Yeah, I agree.
Please don't.
I even hate it when, the cover gets crumbled.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
traveling, or the corners of the book.
Yes, a long back, okay? I'm very particular about my books, and I never lend books. So in my 20s, at that time, I was naive, and I didn't know how to say no. So one of my friends home and she borrowed my book. Okay, it was a
Okay.
fat book. I think it was Barbara Taylor Bradford or something like that.
Okay.
When she returned it, I was so aghast because it was all crumpled and, it was handled very badly. And I felt
Okay.
so bad that I said, listen, you keep this book, okay? And she thought that I was being very generous.
Yes.
No, that's very nice of you. Are you sure? I said yes, because it pained me to see that book. So
Condition.
when she left, the first thing I did was go running to a bookstore and
Get the book.
buy the same book. And I was actually gifting it to her because she had really ruined that book. And anyway, I have never lent books after that. So yeah, I think books should be handled carefully.
Very true. They're so precious, I feel.
So precious, exactly, very precious.
I'll ask you the next question.
Sure.
3 things about you that very few people know.
3 things about me that I can do the headstand. I don't know how many people know that. And I do weights on a daily basis. And I can do like I can do like 60 sit-ups and crunches. I can do like 60 squats, weighted squat, goblet squats. So huge fitness freak. And I draw very realistic portraits. I guess that people know, I guess. But yeah.
Third one? That's 2. You're an artist and you're a fitness junkie.
I thought I said I could do the headstand yoga.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, actually.
I grow my own vegetables, but that I already said.
Yeah. Which is your favorite city and why?
In the world or in India?
Anywhere.
In India, it's Bangalore for sure because I had a choice to move back. When I was moving back from India, I could choose to live in any city in India, and I chose Bangalore. I love Bangalore.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So that was the end of our rapid fire, and I feel you did amazing. And let's see what the audience have to say. Definitely, we can take some audience questions if you're okay with it, ma'am.
Sure. I'm okay with that. Audience has to tell me if I want a gift hamper or not.
Yeah, please.
If I want a gift hamper, Sapna is going to send me a nice gift hamper.
Definitely. I think Nijesh and Nitin uncle are listening right now. Let's see the questions.
Who is your favorite Indian author? Definitely Ruskin Bond. Give her the hamper. I'm from Bangalore and something, I'm reading the comments. I think I'll let you read.
Okay. Pushivu is asking, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but she's asking, which writing software do you use? That's a very interesting one.
I just use Word.
Okay.
MS Word.
Okay. And what else? Which is your favorite novel of this year?
This year, I'll have to see my reading list actually and then think about it. I'm not able to tell offhand. But if you go to my blog, I have listed the 10 favorite books of 2019.
Okay.
So, and also it doesn't matter because see, I'm not going by the year in which they were published. It's just when I discovered that book,
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Amit is asking, where do you get the ideas for your book plots?
It just comes to me. I can get a book plot idea from anything. I can make up an idea like this live that we are having. I can make up an idea from there. I can get ideas from a snippet of a conversation I heard. In fact, I have a course. On Udemy and Skillshare. And one of the sections in that course is where to get ideas from. So I have gone into detail as to where I got ideas. So each book, it would probably be a different place where I got the ideas. So those of you who are really interested can check out my course on Udemy and Skillshare, where I have shared in detail, and then there's an assignment at the end of it, which will help you get your own ideas.
Okay. So there's a very interesting question by 2-3 people. Can you recommend some good self-help books?
Uh, I would say Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Okay.
Please read
Okay.
that book. That's amazing. It gives you a total perspective shift. So it's by
Okay.
this doctor who was taken as a prisoner in the Holocaust, and
Hmm.
that was an amazing book. It's an amazing book. It
Okay.
just kind of totally changes your perspective.
Perspective.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
And
will
also
try reading it.
Tuesdays with Maury. Tuesdays with
Okay.
Maury, which album? These two books are really good.
Okay. How do you handle the stress in the pandemic?
I do my headstand, I do my exercise, I have my dog, I have my art. It is actually very stressful, and it's very hard to not think about what's happening outside, because it's such a flood, it's such a deluge. It's you
Mhm.
sometimes get submerged by it. And I feel
Yeah.
it's really important to do things that help you preserve your sanity. Now,
Thank you.
however it is, whether it is just sitting in front of the TV and eating chocolates and binge watching your favorite serial, or whether it's getting down and going out for a walk. I mean, don't go by what works for others, go by what works for you. And that I feel will help you handle and give yourself me time. Because sometimes you
Yeah.
just get especially if you are living with your family, sometimes you just get overwhelmed by everybody's demands on you. It's very important to set that time for yourself. So just do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. I think Harshu, hope that answered your question and helped you a little bit. Then, are you planning any sequel to this book? A lot of people are asking this.
Yeah, most probably, because you know what? The moment they finish reading this book, they're asking, "When is the sequel coming? When is the sequel coming?" Because
Yeah.
I think this does have a scope for a sequel.
Okay. Arpita Moria is asking, how do you handle the negative reviews? But I think you already addressed that in the beginning of the session.
Yes.
Then we have what inspired you to write your latest book. So is there any inspiration for the current book?
I already answered that. I said I wanted to write a young adult fiction which deals
Okay.
with teen relationship,
Okay.
finding yourself.
Okay. Then we have, please give me some tips for writing a novel. That's Pranali. So, ma'am, do you have any suggestions for people who want to start writing? Given this situation, we have a lot of free time. So, do you have any tips?
Yeah, I would suggest do a writing course first. Okay, there are so
Okay.
many courses because first you have to learn the craft. Okay, because if you learn the craft, your writing is going to go to the next level rather than just writing. And online, there are so many courses. There are so many free courses. There are so many paid courses. So just choose one which appeals to you and do those exercises. Start by writing small short stories first, and then think of a book. You know, because
Okay.
that take the next logical step. First, maybe write a 2,000 word story. Maybe write a 6,000 word story. Write a 12,000 word story, then go on to write a novella. It's like going to a gym. If you go to a gym and try to lift up that heavy weight, you will not be able to, and you'll probably get discouraged. But if you build it up slowly, I think you will be able to. But learn the basics first. You know, that's my advice.
Yeah. Thank you for answering that.
No problem.
There's one more very interesting question here by name is Sahit. Are there any real life characters in your book, like, that you've taken inspiration from?
All the time. Every character of mine would be based on someone I know or someone I've come across, or it's always like that. Every writer borrows from real life, but we disguise our characters so much that even the person who it's taken from will not recognize themselves. So that's what all writers do. And my book, the characters are very relatable. So in fact, when you read it, you'll say, Ari, I know someone like Arush, or oh, I know someone like Pooja, because it's all very it's not some fantasy character that I've created. It's like the boy next door or the girl next door. My characters are very relatable.
Okay. So we'll take a few more questions, ma'am, if you are okay.
Sure, I'm okay.
Do you like reading poems as well?
Absolutely. In fact, I write poetry too. I've written over 100 poems. So if you go to my blog and search using the search label, you can read all my poetry. Some of it was in Condé Nast magazine. They had commissioned me to write poetry. So I love poetry.
Okay. And when can we expect your next book?
As soon as you
Even
guys,
though this is just released right now.
as soon as this one sells like 5 lakh copies, so you just buy, all of you just buy 5 copies, 10 copies, make it hit 5 lakh, and then I'll write my next book.
So I think to everybody listening, head to Sapna, order online, and please hit the number so she can write another book.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm already working on my next book. But guys, meanwhile, you have 13 of my other books to read. So please read
Okay.
those. And you know, one of my author friends, someone asked her this question, okay? Like, when can we expect your next book? And I laughed at her reply. She said, listen, there are no elves sitting there and producing the book. It is blood, sweat, and she said it's blood, sweat, and toil. It takes such a lot to write one book. So yeah, guys, please support authors by buying books and support the publishing industry, because you know, in this pandemic, like every other industry, publishing industry is also hit. Many bookshops have closed, which is so sad. So readers like you supporting the industry goes a long way.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think wishing you all the best for this book.
Thank you
And
so much.
to everybody watching, please go buy the book. We have it available in all the stores. We have it available online at Sapna Online. Please go order. And ma'am, all the best.
Hey, thank you so much, Natasha. It was lovely speaking.